Good morning everybody, today is Wednesday the 13th of January and today we are learning to use conjunctions, prepositions and adverbials for cohesion in our writing today. It's a change of pace rather than doing another dictation exercise. I thought we could do some editing, so I've written a couple of sentences here and I want you to spot any mistakes. There are quite a few in there, so you might find it helpful to rewrite the sentences including the corrections that you've made so we can see how you've done on Seesaw. But just take a look, thinking about we want accurate punctuation. Remember, it's a first person narrative and it should be written in the past tense. What corrections can you see that we need to edit in? So pause the video here, please. Write out your sentences with the mistakes corrected too. And press play when you are ready to resume. Okay, great job everybody. So we can see from the beginning sentence, just ahead the grey and moody sea. We actually have an opener here, so we need a comma. Well done if you remembered your comma, and you can give yourself a little tick remembering the punctuation. Now for this part here, the grey and moody sea, we don't actually have a verb to make that a complete sentence because we don't know anything about it. Was there a sound coming from the sea? Could I see the sea? Sorry to repeat sea so many times, but we need a verb. So we could have something like, just ahead I could see the grey and moody sea. Just ahead the grey and moody sea came into view. See or saw and view, came being the verbs in that sentence. You might have gone for a sound. Just ahead the grey and moody sea roared angrily, roared being the verb, but you absolutely should have added in a verb somewhere around here. So I'm going to just use my little up arrow to edit my work. I just ahead, and because it's a first person narrative, you're going to refer to I could hear, just ahead I could hear the grey and moody sea. Actually, to be honest, I think sea would make more sense because we're describing the appearance of it. I could see the grey and moody sea. To be honest, I'll probably change sea to ocean if I was writing this as part of my full story, but I'm not going to overthink that now. Zoe feels a cold shiver run down my spine when I heard screams behind me. Now it's a first person narrative that we're writing this week, so we don't want to see any mention of Zoe unless someone is using her name. This should be I feels. Now this is the incorrect tense here. So sorry, we get a tick if we remembered the verb. I am skipping ahead. We get a tick if you remember to change this to I, and we also get a tick if you remember to change feels to felt. We need a past tense verb, so that gets another tick here. Just going to cross this out. So I'm just going to read this back again. I think I found all of the mistakes here. So just ahead, I could see the grey and moody sea. Again, I'm not overly fond of this repetition of sea, but it'll do. I felt a cold shiver run down my spine when I heard screams behind me. So now I'm writing all in first person. Sorry, I shouldn't have put pink here. So I'll get rid of that, it's a bit confusing. I should have written all in first person, and it should all be in past tense as well. So well done if you found all of those corrections, and this V is just for verb here if you're not too sure. Please pause the video here if you do need a little bit more time to reflect on those sentences and make any corrections that you didn't manage to make. Okay, so moving on with the rest of our writing this week. As I said, we're going to be using conjunctions, prepositions and adverbials today. I've been so impressed with all of the writing that has been submitted. It is really lovely to see children taking real care and consideration over the presentation of the work, really challenging themselves to use ambitious vocabulary and sentence structures too, and moving away from the model text. It is difficult being at home, but I've been really blown away. So well done, and keep up the great work. So we're using conjunctions, prepositions and adverbials for cohesion. Conjunctions, as we know, are words that link together ideas and sentences. So If you look on your home learning pack, you can see that I have prepared quite an extensive list of vocabulary that you can use to help you today. So we've got some selected prepositions. I'll get into that in a second. We've got coordinating conjunctions, remembered by the acronym FANBOYS. Subordinating conjunctions, remembered by the acronym A White Bus. This isn't an exhaustive list of conjunctions. You may want to use different ones that aren't there. It's just to remind you, and these are most of the common ones really, to link your ideas, and that's how we get cohesion. Prepositions are words that we use to indicate where something is. So I've given you some ideas: overhead, above, across, around, behind, and so on. And adverbials give detail to a verb. So it might be one word like quietly, or we might have something like just ahead, giving more detail to the verb. And cohesion is basically just our ideas linking together, making sense, not just having a person suddenly in one place and then somewhere different without any indication of time, or where they can hear things or where they can see things. It just adds a bit more detail to the reader so they can better understand what is happening in the story. But this will make sense as we progress through the paragraph. So I've got my steps to success here. So let me just move this down a little bit for you so then you can see what we're doing. So I want to foreshadow danger. Usually writers use weather to indicate when danger is lying ahead, and we know that Zoe is going to encounter danger towards the end of the text when she finds these strangers on Eels Island. Then we're going to describe the beginning of the journey. So again, we can carry on with that weather theme, talking about how she's starting to row, she might be struggling a little bit. Then we want more of the journey, giving an idea of how long it's taken her to find somewhere new, again using that cohesion there. And she's going to spot a new location. So she's going to spot the cathedral towers of Eels Island, which hopefully you've reached in your reading by this point with your teacher, and then she's going to arrive at Eels Island. So there's lots of different events here happening. So we've got weather, we've got the beginning journey, then we have the journey, then she finds the island, then she arrives there. So lots of different events that need to be linked together, hence why our focus is on cohesion today. So I'm going to start with foreshadowing danger. Just pause the video here and have a think about what sort of foreshadowing, so what sort of warning of danger we could include. So I refer to weather, bad weather, being used as an indicator to the reader that something bad will happen. What sort of things in the night sky might indicate danger is ahead? What particular specific elements of weather could we describe to indicate danger? Okay, pause the video here while you have a think. Okay, great job. So we could think about black clouds rumbling. We could think about lightning dancing across the sky. We could think about the stinging rain, or even borrowing from last week's model, The Highwayman, the ghostly moon, again giving that idea that something dark and sinister lies ahead. So I might want to use actually a preposition at this point. If I'm describing the sky, I might want to use a preposition overhead, or above me I could use as well. But I'm going to use overhead. And then, because I'm using it as an adverbial too, I'm going to use a comma here. Sorry, I'm going to make that V a little bit clearer. Overhead, and I'm going to focus on the clouds. I'm going to leave you to think about lightning, rain, the moon, the stars. Try not to describe the clouds. We want to see lots of different ideas today. Overhead, black clouds rumbled. Black clouds rumbled, and I'm going to use an adverb here as well to describe how they are rumbling ominously. You can use figurative language here and angrily. Overhead, black clouds rumbled ominously, and then I'm going to use a conjunction whilst to connect ideas, because I could have overhead, black clouds rumbled, then I dragged my boat, but why not have both things happening at the same time? So whilst is a really good conjunction that we can use here. Whilst I dragged or I heaved because the boat needs to move from the shed into the water. Some of you did include this stuff in your paragraph yesterday. Absolutely fine, in which case just adapt this paragraph as you best see fit. Whilst I dragged my boat into the water. So just be careful not to use too much repetition of sea or ocean. Try and use some synonyms there as well. Right, that's my first step done. Nice and easy. So now I've got my blue step. I've got the beginning of my journey. So thinking about if you're in a boat, the first thing you're going to do, especially if it's a rowing boat like in Floodland, is actually start to use the oars. You grab the oars and then you start to move them. And Zoe's never done this before, so she's going to find it really difficult. So you might want to talk about that. So talking about how she's struggling, she's straining, she can barely move them. Maybe the memories of her father teaching her have all come flooding back. I'm going to continue thinking about the weather. I'm going to think about the rain. So try not to use rain in this section. You can use it in a different one, but this is my idea because I've got the black clouds and I'm going to talk about the rain. Figurative language, blades of icy rain stung my face. And I'm going to use another conjunction to weave together ideas. As. As is a great one. Again, similar to whilst, it's describing two things happening at the same time. As I thrust my oars, so again, like putting them in the water really vigorously, really powerfully, thrust my oars into the sea. So I'm not using water, I'm using a different noun, into the sea. And Zoe doesn't know where she's going, so I'm going to make that clear here as well. She has no idea where she's going to find her parents. She has no idea where she wants to head. So I'm going to phrase this into my journey. I thrust my oars into the sea and started, almost missed my word then, started my journey into the unknown. And that's my blue part done. So again, nice and simple, one long sentence. It's quite a complex sentence, so I might be looking to shorten a sentence soon because I've got this one with an adverbial, this one with a conjunction as well. It's quite wordy, so I might want to just disrupt the flow a little bit soon. And again, so now linking this in, so we want a passage of time here. She's going to be rowing for quite a while. So again, an opener would work really well, describing how long. So this would be an adverbial at this point. For what felt like hours, as the moon started to sink, or as the sun rised, as the sky turned a blood red. You can think about sunset here. So think about indicating a passage of time. So maybe she has a watch and you can actually indicate how long specifically it's taken. I'm just going to have Zoe kind of react to signs in the weather and just keep it quite general. So all night long. Again, just linking this now that she's suddenly just not got in a boat and then she turns up at Eels Island. There has to be a link there to show how long she rowed, or how she rowed, or in which direction she rowed. She might be following a compass point, for example. So all night long. I want to use some repetition here, some deliberate repetition. So I know I mentioned back in the do now, I didn't really like how I had see twice. But if you use it deliberately, it can be a really lovely device. All night long, I rowed and rowed. The repetition of rowed. This is quite a common comprehension question as well. The repetition of rowed emphasises how much and how long she was rowing. So with the poem again last week, the King's men were marching, indicating how long they were marching for. All night long I rowed and rowed. I might want to even play with that a bit more and have getting weaker and weaker. I will just leave it at that point because I don't want to be taking up all of your morning with this writing. And then I'm going to use a bit of past perfect now. So I had started, because she did regain hope at some point, I'd started to lose all hope. And then I'm using another conjunction until, and then I'm going to have this, she spots a new location. So we want our conjunction to link that here, until I spotted. Up to you how you want to describe it. Maybe she recognises the cathedral from pictures she's seen before. You might just want to call it, keep it quite vague and call it a structure or a building. I spotted a towering building. On the horizon. So again, a preposition here indicating where that is. I saw a towering building, but where is it? Is it nearby? Is it just ahead? Is it in the distance? Give an indication with a preposition where that tower could be. I knew, and then cohesion here. Why was that significant? I knew it had to be land. Oh, sorry, I'm cutting off at the bottom there. I knew it had to be land. I headed towards it. And I've deliberately missed out a conjunction here. I wonder what conjunction I could put in. Have a think while I finish the rest of my sentence. Do you think it's coordinating or subordinating? And it was a coordinating conjunction. I want to use so, giving the result of an action. I knew it had to be land, so I headed towards it. And then finally, I've got my purple section, which is I arrived at a new location. A good conjunction to use here, I would use a subordinated conjunction maybe when. You could use an opener, at long last, for example, an adverbial describing the way that she approaches the land cautiously or slowly. I love the subordinating conjunction, even though I knew danger could be ahead. I had to discover, or I had to reveal the secrets on this island. After reaching the shore would be a lovely one as well, describing what she does. So again, thinking logically, she's been rowing for a long time. And she's got to an island, so what would you do with a boat? You would leave it somewhere safe. So we need to make sure we indicate that. So pause here and think about what sort of opener you would use. Would you use a for-instance adverbial, or would you want to use more of a conjunction linking ideas together? Okay, as I said, I'm going to go with when. When would be a really nice one. When I reached, you could think about using adjectives here. When I reached the island, I'm just going to keep it a little bit more general. When I reached the island, and then think about what you would do. So I found a safe spot for Leica. If I was to use a full stop here, it would make grammatical sense, it would be fine, but it would be a bit clunky. So I want to use and to link ideas together. When I reached the island, I found a safe spot for Leica and I trudged towards to the, oh, I'd not quite fit it on. How annoying is that? And I trudged to the, oh, think of a noun. What could I use here? See if you are going to use the same one as me. I'll reveal it in a second. How annoying is that? Okay, I used structure. This should zoom out, might zoom out quite a bit. There we go. Here, so I reached the island, I found a safe spot for Leica and I trudged to the structure. You could use a few more adjectives there if you want to. So again, I've got 4 steps to this. There's quite a few events happening that need to be linked together, otherwise it can sound very clunky and not be very clear for the reader that we've had a passage of time, that we've changed location. So this is what these conjunctions and adverbials and prepositions are really useful for. Prepositions can be used as adverbials if they're at the beginning of a sentence. So I'm going to read through my work. I'm going to highlight in pink where I think I've used really good features and just check that it makes sense, because it is easy to miss out words and maybe miss out punctuation as well. So really do recommend doing this if you are at home. You are at home if before uploading onto Seesaw is what I mean to say. So overhead, so I've got my prepositions, so I kind of know what's happening. Black clouds rumbled ominously, whilst. So I'd really like that use of whilst here. I dragged my boat into the water. Blades of icy rain stung my face as, here we go, as I thrust my oars into the sea, and so I've got my conjunction, started my journey into the unknown. All night long, I've got my adverbial. I rode and rode. I had started, I've not crossed my T, so it's like a different word. Started to lose hope until I spotted a towering building on the horizon. I've not dotted my I. I'm so sorry, children. On the horizon. I knew it had to be land, so I headed towards it. Until here as well. When I reached the island, and then I have here, found a safe spot for Leica, and I trudged. So don't be afraid of using and. It's just incredibly useful for linking together ideas. It's not particularly boring conjunctions. Sometimes it really just makes things flow a lot more nicely to just, rather than having two sentences, linking them together just makes it flow a little bit more. So as I've said, I have referred to this already. You've got this vocabulary sheet available for download, and the text will be available for you on the same sheet. There is a slightly simplified version of the paragraph at the bottom. So feel free to take a look at that one as well, but try and base yours off of the longer paragraph, just so you've got more of those ideas and more opportunities for cohesion there as well. So again, selected prepositions, selected conjunctions, ideas for foreshadowing danger with vocabulary, because we still want to make it beautifully written, even though we are thinking about that cohesion. Some ideas for how you could start sentences here. This is the blue. It looks quite dark. I think maybe I've forgotten to change the colour on that one. Green here and purple here as well. Okay, right, best of luck everybody. Really can't wait to see your work again. You've been doing a fantastic job this week, and I look forward to seeing all of your lovely ideas on Seesaw. Take care everybody, bye bye.